You guys hazard a guess as we're sort of on that subject. What were the three biggest sports in the 50s and 60s? Three most popular sports back then.
Baseball, boxing, and I'm missing one.
Horse racing.
Oh,
You guys
that's
got
right.
it.
Yeah.
You nailed it. So I'm just thinking, this is about, why football has such a grip on us in that, it starts this week and it doesn't stop until early February. Like, what is it about football, and will this ever change?
I don't, you know what? I like to see a sport that's going to be able to try. We're so entrenched now. It's almost gotten to the point of premier soccer or premier football, where people are just basically living for their team to play and win, and will live and die on them winning that week. And so if you watch sort of Premier League soccer, it's the entire stadium into it, just like an NFL game. They wear their jerseys. They plan the entire day for it. That's where the NFL is right now. I don't know of any other day of the week, and Duffy, you brought this up before, that a sport controls Sunday and Thursday and looking to spread to other countries.
I think it comes down to visually pleasing. Like, you bring up those three sports when, color television wasn't a standard thing. I mean, boxing was huge on the radio, which always blows my mind.
That's an interesting answer.
Well, think about it. The way that football's played today, right? They're literal superheroes out there. I mean, you can see it compared to the folks that they're standing next to. The colors are beautiful. The game moves fast. It's exciting. It's an easy sport to understand. You just want to get the ball into that thing. Whereas the other sports you just named, yes, boxing and horse racing are very simple, but there was scandal. There was controversy, right? Like, the best folks weren't fighting. You find out that the mob were involved in a bunch of them at a high level for a very long time. And then when baseball, look, baseball was huge in this country up until the mid-90s. And I say huge as in what it was in the 50s and 60s. It's not as visually pleasing to the casual sports fan as football is.
I thought there was a nick that was happening as far as football goes when the whole concussion issue came out. And then the mothers get involved and said, my kid's not playing football. Presumably this was how it was going to go. And eventually there'd be a talent drain and football might actually get hurt by this. But that doesn't seem to have happened at all.
They fought all the way through that. To the other thing, when it comes to sort of horse racing, I'm not sure, our thought process on animals and pets has totally changed from that era to now.
Which is funny because we have the opposite on athletes,
Yeah.
right? Like, we're worried about what happens to a horse, but these guys, you brought up the concussion, like, you see what the consequences are. They get paid to do it. A horse does too, gets a lot of feed, but you were saying, I'm sorry.
But the other part of it too is that the betting has increased too, which horse racing is all about betting. That's all it basically is about. You don't just root for a horse and walk around with a horse head around.
Some of us do.
Some of us do. Hoping that your horse is going to win. It's all about betting, which is also taking the forefront to it now. Obviously you have baseball, basketball, you can bet all these other different sports, but NFL is just the sport to bet all the time.
Going back to that point you brought up about is there going to be a talent drain? I don't think we've reached the point where we could have seen it, because that concussion discussion was only 10, 15 years old, right? Like, it's a fact that high school football programs in this area have been hurt by kids not coming out. In fact, some high school sports teams in Section 5 and Section 6 have gone to, 8-man football, right? Like, maybe there are parts of the country where football is so dominant, high school football, Florida, Texas, California, New Jersey, that will never happen. But it might be too early to tell if that was what it originates how football collapses in this country.
And the other part of that too, when you talk about concussions, I don't know about you, I've seen a lot of NFL players go down, stay down, and become seriously hurt. Damar Hamlin, obviously one of them. Another one I think just took place over the weekend with the Patriots. It's become some of this thing where it is more violent. The concussions never went away, but it's become even more dangerous.
But look at how the kid gloves were handling Tua with.
Yeah.
I mean, because of the concussion
literally
issue,
kid judo gloves.
He's one maybe injury. He's one concussion away from being asked not to play.
But it's the part of the body that we're worried about, the brain. I think you can repair an arm, you can repair a leg, you can repair other parts of your body, but the brain is just still that little world where we're scared of.
You guys saying this is still a threat to the sport?
I think so. Well, look, to your point earlier, in the first 2 weeks of preseason football, 5 players were carted off in stretchers. That Patriots game didn't finish up because of the fear that someone was seriously hurt, having teammates. Look, Damar Hamlin changed everything, right? Because it put a face and a name and a family and a moment that we all watched on national television. I remember thinking I was going to wake up and find out that he died. Like, I was expecting that thing to happen. So we watched Damar Hamlin die. Like, I think this year, the way that injuries show up in the game are viewed differently, and that could also be something that changes stuff.